Honoured guests, I'm really pleased to be able to speak to you today from the UK. I greet you with greetings of peace. My name is Dilwar Hussain and I chair an organisation here called New Horizons in British Islam. My work relates to how we understand Islam in our modern world. And I think this dialogue that you have initiated is a really important one. It speaks to one of the most pressing cases today of injustice and how people are often misunderstood. As a human species, we have made some progress in understanding different religions, cultures and ethnicities, even political divides. And we have started to make some progress around sexual identity. But I know that there is still a long way to go. And I know this is more difficult in some pockets of our societies than others. I'm conscious that I'm speaking to you as an outsider from the Northern Hemisphere. But my purpose today is not to tell you what to do or how to think, but to reflect on some of the challenges that I have seen in my community and to share this with you in case it helps you in your reflections. Now, as a member of the Muslim community, I understand that some Muslims and other religious people may have difficulties in being in a dialogue on LGBT+ rights. Sexuality is often seen as a very private matter by many Muslims. But we also need to acknowledge the pain and suffering of our fellow citizens, the oppression and prejudice experienced by members of the LGBT+ community, some of whom are Muslims themselves. This is the reality of our world, and we cannot bury our heads in the sand. So today I just want to make 3 very basic points to you. My first point is ethical. There is an ethical need to stand with LGBT+ people. Modern notions of citizenship are predicated on the equality of all. Every progressive nation prides itself in that message, that all are equal. The ingenuity of humanity brought us to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights after the pain and suffering of 2 world wars that people from my continent unleashed on the rest of the world. We wanted to find what binds us in common as a human species, and we did. The UDHR has served us well, and its premise, again, is the equality of all people. How then can we say that one group is lesser or better than another? From which ethical viewpoint can we argue that they are not like us? This dichotomy between us and them has to be dismantled if we are to truly live in peace. The second point is a religious and spiritual one. For me, Islam stands for love, compassion, and justice. What more important way to demonstrate this than to stand with vulnerable people in our society? If we wish to be understood better as Muslims, we need to raise our voices and stand together for human rights, for all humans. We cannot be the instruments of the very things we criticize others of, prejudice and marginalization. How would we answer to God if we became known as the oppressors? What is the point of saying that God is Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, the most merciful and most compassionate, if we can't show that to God's creation around us? The third point is a pragmatic one. If we cannot stand for the cause of people next to us, our neighbours, our fellow citizens, then how do we ask for help when we need it ourselves? Who will answer our call when we need support? When we look around the world and we see Muslims being oppressed, whether that's in China or Burma or elsewhere, how do we say this to the world and ask them to help us if we are not willing to acknowledge the pain and suffering of other people, the pain and suffering in our own backyard? You will realize that I'm actually saying the same thing in 3 different ways. That the rule that is shared by all religions, to treat others as we would like to be treated ourselves, the golden rule as it is often known, is under threat here. We cannot delay such an important concern because the Quran tells us that to save one life is like saving the whole of humanity. We simply cannot stand by while injustice occurs. So my plea is, please let us engage in such dialogue so that we can understand and be understood, so that we can be agents of peace and reconciliation, as our religion intends us to be. Let us stand for life, for human rights, for equality for all. Thank you for listening and for your time. I'm really honoured to be a part of this initiative, and I congratulate the CAEC for making this happen. I wish you the very best with this event. God bless you. Thank you. Peace be upon you.